I'm Chase Stanton, and this is another episode of Saline Speaks. Today I'm joined by City Council member and Mayor Pro-Tem, Untitled Chapter, and we're going to talk a little bit about your career with City Council and then some of the committees you're involved with and whatnot. So thank you for being here.
Thanks very much for inviting me.
I guess we can start off with what drove you to want to be a member of City Council?
Well, I will say it was an unexpected opportunity for me. 3 years ago, when then Councilmember Alicia Pang was a candidate for the County Commission, she was just 1 year into her 2-year term on City Council. So when she was elected to the County Commission, the council needed to appoint someone to finish out her term. And I was invited to consider being appointed, and after giving it some thought, I offered my services to City Council to be appointed to that position. So I served on City Council for the rest of that, the 1 year remaining of her term, and then 2 years ago ran for the position, the seat in my own right.
And you're currently up for re-election again.
Yes, I am.
Is it something you see yourself continuing more in the future beyond just this next term?
I'm taking it one term at a time. This fall or this summer and late spring and summer, in thinking about whether to run again, I gave it serious consideration. It wasn't an automatic yes. I wanted to think about it in terms of, even though I'm retired, there is still a limited amount of time you can spend. There are lots of very worthy things you can spend your time on, more worthy things to do than there is time, even in retirement, I would say. And so I thought about how my use of my time could be of most benefit. And I concluded that I would run again, in part because there's an enormous amount to learn as a city council member. There's a lot you can learn and know about. And so I've spent 3 years not just learning, but a great deal of my time has been spent learning about how all of this operates, and I wanted to be able to put that to good use for another 2 years at least, and then we'll see. So it's not a done deal.
Yeah. And we mentioned at the beginning that you're Mayor Pro Tem. Would you like to talk just a little bit about what that involves?
Sure. Being Mayor Pro Tem essentially is if the mayor is unavailable for some official responsibility, like if he happens to be absent, has to be away at the time of a council meeting, I would preside over the council meeting. Mayor Pro Tem would preside over the council meeting. Or if there are official functions that the mayor for some reason just can't do. In the case of Mayor Morrow so far this year, none of those things has come up, but I have also represented him. I have represented him in more ceremonial ways. For example, the opening ceremonies for the Special Olympics that were held here several months ago, he was unable to be there for that, so I was lucky enough. Actually, it was a great pleasure to be able to represent the city in the opening ceremonies and then to stay for some of the competition. It was a great event. So that was, I really enjoyed that. And I also serve as an alternate on a couple of boards that he attends. And most recently, he has designated me to be the city's representative to the Washtenaw Urban County Board. That's a group that administers some federal funds that support affordable housing. So I can't really tell you a whole lot more about that because I haven't really delved into details yet. It's another learning opportunity.
So earlier you mentioned that you're currently retired.
Yes.
Could you give people just a little background information of your professional career before joining City Council?
Yes. So I retired from the University of Michigan in 2008. I was the head of the Shapiro Undergraduate Library, and I had worked at the undergraduate library since 1987. I had attended the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for library school, master's degree in library science, and returned to Michigan, where I had grown up in Michigan, to take the job at the University of Michigan.
So with your background working at a library, I guess that can transition us into some of the committees and groups you're involved with in the city, and one is the Friends of the Library. Would you like to talk a little bit about what you do in that capacity?
Yes. The Friends of the Library actually was the first group that I became involved in shortly after moving to Saline. Edna Lawfrey and Earl Lawfrey were charter members of Friends of the Library, and I had met Edna at the University of Michigan. We didn't work in the same unit, but we had a friend in common and had gotten to know each other a little bit that way. So when I moved to Saline, she and her husband were managing the monthly book sales that the Friends of the Library held. And as soon as she found out that I had moved here, she got in touch with me and said, "So Linda, wouldn't you like to help out with the book sales?" So I became involved in the Friends of the Library probably either in late '95 or early '96, and continued on in that at that level of involvement for a long time. Then after I retired in '08, late about 8 or 9 months after I had retired, there was a vacancy on the Friends board, which I was invited to participate in, and I was very happy to do that. And then shortly after that, the board decided that the bookshop that the Friends had just opened a year earlier should be managed by a committee, and I was volunteered to chair the committee, which I've been doing since about the spring of 2009. On the committee, there are 5 of us, and we manage the operations under the auspices of the board, of which I'm still a member. But the committee then runs the operations of the bookshop. It's great fun.
And if anyone wants any information about the bookshop, there is a video. So
I highly recommend it.
You're also involved with the Arts and Culture Committee, which has done a few projects around town. Can you talk about their mission and the goals they have?
Yes, with the Arts and Culture Committee started in 2010, I believe. It was before I joined City Council, and then became the council representative to the committee. So the committee's first project is what I hope is the well-known Seats of Our Heritage sculpture on Ann Arbor Street, across from the Drowsy Parrot. So when I joined the committee, that was the project that was underway, and from that evolved the project to develop the sculpture walk that we currently have in place. And so for the last 6 months, the committee has been looking at what's our next project, what's our next direction, and as a new committee, understandably, I think defining our mission. We have a general mission from the City Council, but defining our mission is one of the tasks that we have. And so most recently, we've been talking about having the committee work on a resource that is aimed at the public, to help the public navigate and be aware of all of the many opportunities we have in Saline for people to interact with or participate with art and culture of all kinds. So we had worked a while back on an inventory of the many, and it's an amazing number, many organizations and venues and events that take place in this community. And we realized there isn't a really easy way for someone who doesn't already know about all that to find out about what's going on in Saline. So at our most recent meeting, we zeroed in on that as our next goal, our next focus, maybe is a better word to say than goal. So to focus on being a resource for the community to find out about all of the opportunities we have available here.
And in case someone couldn't tell from the name, it's not just about sculptures or paintings. It's very encompassing of anything that could be
anything that relate, so visual arts, performing arts of all kinds.
And so is there any other groups or committees you're involved with that you're passionate about or want to talk about?
Yes. My husband and I are both involved in the sister city organizations. I'm a member of the Saline Lunenburg Friendship Committee board, and my husband is a member of the Saline Berken Friendship Guild board. Excuse me. We have both traveled. We have traveled with groups to both of the sister cities, in fact, anticipating traveling to Berken next month. Very excited about that. And it was actually, I think, in a roundabout way, becoming involved in the Saline Lunenburg group that was the first step in my path toward becoming a member of City Council. When the first 10 years ago, when the first group was coming from Lindenberg to visit Saline, the call went out for volunteers from the community to help plan for that visit and to host visitors. So we decided that we would be interested in doing that. My undergraduate major was German, and I have a master's degree in German as well, so, and have spent considerable time in Germany. So it was a natural for me, and my husband had spent time in Germany on business. So we were interested in the opportunity to meet people from Germany and help out with the visit. So we volunteered, so my husband and I volunteered 10 years ago to participate in helping plan for the visit of the first group from Lindenberg that came. And we also volunteered to host someone of visitors. And that was a great experience in many ways. And one of the unexpected ways that it was great is that it gave us really our first connections with other people in Saline. We were both working full time, didn't have children in the school system, and so we hadn't really gotten involved in any groups within the city. So I used to joke that before we joined the Saline Lunenburg group, I could just go to Bush's and be anonymous. And after a while, after being involved in the group for a while, I never could go to Bush's without running into somebody I know. And that was a great thing. I love that. So being involved in the sister city groups has been wonderful in terms of having the opportunity to travel to Germany and to Brecken and to get to know people in both cities and feel a real connection with the cities. And I would also say that kind of travel is a really wonderful way to experience another country. It's not like being a tourist because you get to see the place through the eyes of the people who are becoming your friends, because you're sharing living space with them. They've opened their homes to you, or you've opened your home to them. So that's a really wonderful part of the sister city experience. But it also on the Saline side, for me and for my husband, I think as well, it's given us connections within the community, and that's been a great benefit.
So before we finish, is there anything you'd want people to know in terms of you coming back up for re-election, or just a general message about you and why you're involved in the community and why this is important to you?
I think fundamentally, I have enjoyed living in Saline very much, and I enjoy living in Saline very much. I think this is a great place to live, and one of my operating principles, I guess, is that it's important to contribute to your community, and there are many, many ways to do that. City Council is just one way, but that, for me, that's a really important operating principle. So that is underlying any other reasons I might have. That's really the base reason why I'm on city council and hope to continue to do that.
Well, great. I wish you the best of luck in
Thanks,
what's to
Jason.
come, and thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much.